Hello everybody and welcome to another fly tying video with your host Scott. In this video we're going to be tying a very popular pattern known as the teal, blue and silver. A traditional wet fly pattern that can be used for both brown trout and I believe it's a very useful pattern for sea trout as well. So for this pattern we're going to need a few things. First of all, in the vise we have a Camazan B405 in size 10. This fly can be tied all the way down to a size 14. I probably wouldn't bother any smaller than that, but it can also be tied all the way up to salmon size hooks. So for example, this was a palmed version on a spay hook that I was doing for a display. I've tied another one since because I wasn't happy with the tail on that one. It was a bit too short for my liking. So, but this one we're going to be tying for loch style, river, and obviously smaller fish. So you're going to need a thread. I use a black thread for this pattern in 8/0 uni thread. We're going to need a tinsel. A tinsel of whatever width you're comfortable with using. I'm going to use a 12 gauge for this one. You can use a 14 gauge if you prefer, which is slightly thinner. We're also going to be using a bit of wire to secure the rib. You can use an oval tinsel. For the hackle, we're going to be using a blue cock cape. If you're very fancy and you've got some, you can use J. At first glance that cape looks like it's too dark of a blue, but when you actually start pulling the feathers out, the dye hasn't penetrated all the way, so you get quite a nice light blue, which is typical of a teal, blue and silver. For the tail we're going to be using golden pheasant tippet, and I think that's all of the materials. No, it's not. I always forget the wing. My apologies. For the wing, you need a single bunch of teal flank. Fairly well marked. So this fly has been around for quite a while. I will include all the research in the description as usual. It's very important you read the descriptions, guys, because I put a lot of work into those. Research, various references and so on, and the origins of the fly and how to fish them. However, I will go into some detail while tying the fly, how to fish them in future. I think it makes it more interesting for the viewers. So, we're going to start off with a bed of thread. Now the key to tying tinsel bodies, I may have mentioned it in the Bloody Butcher video, which I will probably post first, is to try and keep the bodies even as possible, which makes winding the tinsel a lot easier. So we're going to go to about where the bend starts. Now I believe the fly was tied originally as a fry imitation, especially in the larger sizes for sea trout. So size 10 is a good all-round size really. You can catch sea trout and brown trout as well with that size. So you're going to get an half decent feather. You're going to hold it between finger and thumb like so to keep them lined up, and then you're just going to snip a section out. The amount is up to you, and then keep them bunched together like so. And we're going to tie it in. I normally tie them in the second black bar, like so, and then give them a bit of a there we go. I'll lock it in a bit better because it looks like they want to turn. Just tidy up a bit. I don't think they'll go anywhere now. There we go. Make sure they're well tied in, obviously. Then you're going to get your wire. Now, this is a Vineyard wire in small. I think the diameter is about 0.12, something like that. It's not very thick wire at all. and then tie that down to where you want the tinsel to finish on the body, and then go all the way back up towards the eye. Try and keep it even if you can. I might need another row of thread actually, just to keep the get it a bit more even on the shank. Now if there's a lot of background noise in the video, I am tying currently in the midst of Storm Eowyn, which is in this area we've got an amber alert, but further north in Northern Ireland and Scotland it is actually a red alert, danger to life, and it's really not a very nice day out there. So pop your wire in your material holder to keep it out of the way. This tinsel's double-sided, it's gold and silver, so it's gold one side, silver the other. In order for you to get the silver side showing, you tie it with the gold side facing up, which I'm going to do now. And you tie it in at the eye. It's a bit of a trick really, bit of a hack that I've learnt in a book I've recently acquired. So the idea is you wind all the way down and then wind all the way back up again. So you want a full turn there, excuse me, sorry I've let go of it, full turn there, and then you want to do not overlapping turns but touching turns down the shank. The hard part is getting round the point of the hook without it slipping, so just pop your finger in there and then move it to where you want it to go. Full turn at the base of the tail and then come back up. Now you can use super glue on the shank of the hook as well to help you out a little bit. I don't know how that looks your side, but it looks pretty good my side. And then tie it in. Because it's quite thick tinsel, you need to tie it in fairly far up the length of it and trim away and then tidy up. You need to keep it nice and tight, the thread, to keep it in place. Then get your wire and rib with the wire. This protects your tinsel body. So you want fairly even turns. It's a very similar pattern to the butcher, if I'm honest. Very similar method. It's just a different colour variations, and the wing is very different. I'll go over the wing in just a second when I'm ready to tie that. So holding your thread tight, wiggle the wire and it will break away eventually. So then you're going to get a suitable feather off your cape. The problem with this cape I've got at the moment is they're all quite long, the feathers, as in they're short, but the actual fibres on them are very long, which is great if you're tying the larger sizes. I think this one looks about right. As you can see, it's quite a light blue at the base of the feather, and that's what we're going to be using. So I'll tie that in. Leaving a bit of space for the head. You want about enough room to wind 3 turns. 3 seems to be the magic number with these little wet flies, so if you prefer you can use hackle pliers. If the feather's long enough you can wind it by hand. That's 1 turn. Two turns and 3 turns, and we're just getting into the darker feathers now, so the darker section of the feather so we can tie it off there. You can get capes that are dyed in the correct colour. You can get the actual dye that's the correct colour. But I found this to be quite useful, this particular cape, if you need any darker feathers and you've got them. So now trim the hackle away. And obviously there's quite a bit of stuff going forward there, so we're going to brush that back between finger and thumb. And then trap it so it goes back slightly like that, a bit like a spider hackle. There we go. Now, out of all the wet flies, this is probably the easiest wing to tie. You just need a well marked feather. That's the hard part with this particular teal I've got here, is finding a well marked feather. That looks okay, that one. And then you just want a fairly sizable bunch. Tear it away. And then just literally roll it between finger and thumb. It's not a perfect wing on these. You just need a single bunch, it's not a double wing. I think we can get a better bunch than that. If you haven't got teal, you could use mandarin, you could use widgeon. Any of the duck species out there that have got barred flank feathers, you could even use mallard if you're stuck for anything else. That's better. So right on top of the hook, loose turn, and then tie it in. See what? I prefer the wing to be the same length as the tail. I think some examples of this fly, it's just slightly shorter. But I like it like that, so that's how we're going to do it. You're the one with the materials and the tools, you can do what you like. Now to fish this fly, I would fish it as a team. Probably on a floating line, and I would swing it on a river. Probably as a point fly actually, but you could put it anywhere in the team. If you're fishing a still water, again, fish it as a part of a team. And especially if there's fry about, it's a good fry imitation. A lot of people like to use these at night for sea trout, which can be quite useful. But yeah, so it's a very, very old and very effective attractor pattern. So this is my homemade whip finish tool, which I'm a bit more adept at using than the rotary one. I will do a video on how to do that, by the way. Trim away close. Try and get the wing to behave. You can tie it with a double wing if you prefer, but I actually just prefer to just put the one wing in with these. And then varnish the head to finish. If you get a bit on the hackle, just wipe it away like that. And there we have it. That is a very, very old traditional pattern called the teal, blue and silver. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.